For a very long time, the model of success that most of us are taught has followed the same pattern. So you build a career, then once that career is established, you start thinking about the life you wanted around. Work comes first, life comes later. We're encouraged to focus on climbing ladders, chasing promotions, and hitting income targets and building status. The assumption is that if you work hard enough for long enough, eventually the life part will fall into place. At some point down the road, you will have the freedom, the time, the flexibility to shape your life the way you really want. But for most people, that moment never quite arrives. What often happens instead is that the career grows, responsibilities grow, and the lifestyle becomes increasingly tied to the structure of the work itself. The job dictates the schedule. The business dictates the stress levels. The expectations of the market dictate the pace. From the outside, it may look like success. The income might be there, the reputation might be there, but internally, something feels slightly out of alignment. You wake up and realize that your life has been built around the demands of your work rather than your work supporting the life you actually want to live. This is the hidden tension that a lot of founders and professionals quietly experience. They did everything they were told to do. They worked hard, built something valuable, and pushed forward. Yet the structure of that success does not necessarily support the lifestyle they imagined. And that is because that traditional model is backwards. The assumption has always been that work is the foundation and life is the accessory. But when you build in that order, it becomes very difficult to adjust that structure later. If your business relies on your constant presence, you lose that flexibility. If your income relies on endless hours, you lose that freedom. If your identity becomes tied to the constant growth and pressure, you lose the space to breathe. The modern entrepreneur is beginning to question that model. We are now entering a period where people are asking a very different question. Instead of asking how to build the biggest business possible, they're asking for something far more interesting. What kind of life do I actually want to live? That shift is subtle, but it changes everything. For the first time in history, it's possible to build businesses that are flexible, digital, global, and lifestyle aligned. Technology has removed many of the barriers that once dictated how and where people could work. Communities can be built online. Services can be delivered remotely. Knowledge can travel instantly across the world. All of this means that entrepreneurship no longer has to follow the old rules. The next generation of founders is beginning to design their lives first and build businesses that support those choices. Instead of asking, what business should I build? They ask, what kind of life do I want that business to support? Do I want the freedom of time? Do I want the ability to travel? Do I want a calm and stable schedule? Do I want creative autonomy? Do I want meaningful impact? Do I want financial security without burnout? These questions may sound simple, but they are rarely asked at the beginning of a founder's journey. Most founders jump straight into building something based on opportunity, skills, or market demand. Only later do they discover that the structure of the business that they created does not actually support the lifestyle that they had hoped for. The future of entrepreneurship flips that sequence. Instead of squeezing life around work, founders begin by designing the life they want and then building a business around it. That means creating a smaller business with higher margins rather than a large company with constant complexity. It might mean choosing fewer clients but charging appropriately for the value delivered. It might mean building digital products that generate recurring revenue rather than constantly trading time for money. It might mean that designing a brand that attracts the right people so that marketing becomes easier and more aligned. None of these decisions are purely financial decisions. These are lifestyle design decisions. When you start with the life first, the strategy behind the business changes dramatically. You begin to think about how many hours you want to work each week. You think about the type of people that you want to work with. You think about the type of energy that you want to work to create rather than the stress it might generate. You think about the sustainability rather than the constant acceleration. This approach does not mean thinking small. In fact, it often produces stronger businesses because the founder is deeply aligned with the direction that they are building towards. A business built around the life you want to live tends to be far more sustainable. It becomes something you can run for 10 or 20 years without burnout. It also changes how you make decisions. Instead of chasing every opportunity that appears, you filter through those opportunities through a much clearer lens. Does this support the life that I'm trying to build? Does this add unnecessary complexity? Does this move closer or further away from the future that I actually want? That clarity is incredibly powerful. The founders who thrive in the future will not be the ones who work the longest hours or move the fastest. They'll be the ones who build with intention. They will understand that a business is not just a machine for generating revenue. It is a framework that shapes how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention. In other words, your business becomes the architecture of your life. And if that architecture is designed without thought, it can quietly trap you inside of it. But if it is designed intentionally, it can create extraordinary freedom. And that is what this is all about. It is about stepping back from the traditional script of success and asking a different question. What would happen if you designed your life first? What would happen if you started by deciding how you want to live, how you want to work, and what kind of impact you want to create? And then, only after that clarity, you build a business that supports it. That shift in thinking is where the future of entrepreneurship begins. The future of you. Before you design a business, you need to design the life that that business is supposed to support. Now, this sounds obvious, but most people completely skip this part. When people start businesses, they usually begin with opportunity. They see a gap in the market, they notice there's a trend, or they realize they have a skill that others are willing to pay for. Now, all of those are valid starting points, but they are not the full picture. What often happens is that a business grows around those opportunities without any consideration for the lifestyle it creates for the founder. You build the offer, you attract the clients, you build the systems around the work. And then one day you realize that the structure of the business now dictates your life. Your calendar is full, the responsibilities are heavy, and your income may have grown, but your freedom has not. This is why the first step in building a life-aligned business is not a strategy, it is clarity. You need to define the life that you actually want. That means stepping away from the constant motion of business building and asking yourself a few simple but powerful questions. First question is this: what does an ideal week look like? Not a fantasy one, a realistic one. How many hours do you want to work each day? Do you want to work 4 days or 5? Do you want long focused blocks of activity or short? Do you want the morning slow and creative or structured and fast paced? Many founders never ask this question because they assume the business will always demand more time. But the truth is that the structure of the business is determined by your schedule. If your model requires constant availability, your calendar will always be full. If your model relies on systems, products, and leverage, your time can become far more flexible. The second question is about freedom. How much freedom do you actually want? Freedom means different things to different people. For some founders, freedom means the ability to travel. They want to be able to work from anywhere in the world, design their schedule around exploration and experience. That's me. For others, freedom means stability. They want predictable working hours, consistent income, and the ability to switch off at the end of the day. Neither approach is better than the other. What matters is clarity, because the type of business you build should support the type of freedom you want. The third question is one that many people avoid, but is incredibly important. How much income is actually enough? In traditional business culture, the answer is always more. More revenue, more growth, more scale, more. But endless growth is not always the right strategy for every founder. Every additional level of revenue brings additional complexity, more clients, more team members, more systems, more pressure, more chaos. If you never define what enough looks like for you, you can end up chasing growth that adds stress rather than improves your life. So instead, think about what income level would actually allow you to live comfortably while supporting the lifestyle that you want. When you know what enough looks like, you can design your business around sustainability rather than useless expansion. The fourth question is about location. Where do you actually want to live and work? Now, this is going to seem like a rather personal question rather than a business one, but the two are really connected. If you want to live somewhere quiet and rural, then your business needs to be structured in a way that allows remote work. If you want to travel frequently, Your business needs to operate without requiring your physical presence. If you want to build strong local relationships and community ties, your business might need a local component. Location decisions influence everything from the business model to client type scheduling. The final question is about complexity. How much complexity are you actually willing to manage? Now, this is one of the most overlooked aspects of any business. Some people thrive on complexity. They enjoy building large teams, managing multiple projects, and navigating fast growth. Others prefer simplicity. They want a small number of clients, a streamlined offer structure, and a calm, predictable workflow. Both paths can lead to successful businesses, but they create very different lifestyles. If you are somebody who values simplicity, but accidentally builds a highly complex business, you're going to constantly feel overwhelmed. If you thrive on growth and challenge, but you build something that's too small or static, you're going to feel bored. Understanding your personal tolerance for complexity allows you to design a business structure that actually fits you. When you combine these questions together, something powerful begins to happen. You start to see your future a lot more clearly. You begin to understand how you want to spend your time, how much pressure you want to carry, how much flexibility you're going to need, what level of income supports the life that you want. This clarity becomes the foundation for every strategic decision that you make next. Because once you know the life you're designing, the business becomes much easier to shape. You can design offers that match the amount of work that you want. You can price services in a way that supports your income goals without requiring endless hours. You can choose the marketing channels that suit your schedule and energy. You can build systems that reduce that complexity instead of increasing it. In other words, lifestyle clarity becomes strategic decision. And many founders try to build strategy first and figure out the life later. But when you reverse that, everything becomes more intentional. Your business is no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something that you designed deliberately. And that is where the real power of entrepreneurship begins. Not in building a profitable company, but in building a life that actually feels like your own. Once you have clarity about the life you want to build, the next step is translating your interests, your strengths, your experience into something that people will actually pay for. This is where many aspiring entrepreneurs get stuck. They're often told to follow their passion, but passion on its own is not a business model. Enjoying something does not automatically mean there is a market for it. And at the same time, building a business purely around something you dislike will eventually become exhausting. So the real opportunity sits in the space where passion meets value. The goal is not to chase passion blindly. The goal is to align passion with value creation. A good starting point is identifying the skills that people are willing to pay for. Every founder already possesses the abilities that have value in the market. These might be professional skills, creative talent, or practical knowledge gained through experience. Sometimes they feel so natural that we underestimate them. You might be really good at simplifying complex ideas. You might be great at organizing projects and processes. You might know how to design, write, analyze, teach, or guide others through challenges. The key question is really simple here. Does this skill involve a problem that people care about? If the answer is yes, you're already moving in the right direction. The second piece of the puzzle is identifying problems you genuinely enjoy solving. Every business exists to solve a problem. Some problems energize you while some drain you. If you choose a problem that constantly frustrates you, your motivation will disappear. But if you choose a problem that genuinely interests you, the work becomes far more sustainable. For instance, some people love helping others grow their confidence. Others enjoy solving technical challenges. Some enjoy guiding people through creative processes. And others thrive on strategic and big picture thinking. Your natural curiosity is often a clue to the problems that you are best suited to solve. The third element is the knowledge that you already possess. Entrepreneurs often underestimate how valuable their accumulated knowledge can be. Years of experiences, personal challenges, professional training, and even hobbies can create insights that others find extremely useful. Think about what you know that others are frequently asking you for help with. What do people come to ask you for advice about? What topics can you talk about for hours without getting bored? What have you spent years learning or practicing? This knowledge can often form the foundation of a product, service, or educational offering. The final piece is credibility. People are far more likely to trust somebody who has real experience with the problem that they're addressing. Credibility can come from many places: professional achievements, personal journeys, long term practice, or even overcoming a challenge that others are currently facing. Your story and experience give context to the value that you provide. So when you combine these four elements, skills people are willing to pay for, the problems you enjoy solving, the knowledge you already possess, and the experiences that create credibility, something powerful begins to shape. You move from a vague passion to a clear value proposition. Instead of simply doing something you enjoy, you are now offering something that improves someone else's situation. That is the foundation of a sustainable business. Passion provides energy, value creation provides revenue. When the two align, not only do you build a business that works financially, but it also remains meaningful over the long term. Once you understand the life that you want to live and the value you can offer, the next step is building a business structure that supports both. This is where founders unintentionally make things harder for themselves. Most business models become quickly complicated. New offers are added constantly, pricing changes frequently, marketing becomes scattered across multiple platforms. Founders chase every possible opportunity in the hope that something will stick. The result is a business that feels busy and unstable. There's a lot of activity, but no clarity. Simplicity is one of the most powerful advantage a founder can build into their business. The first principle is fewer offers with clearer positioning. Many founders create too many services or products because they want to serve everyone. But when offers multiply, messaging becomes murky. Potential clients struggle to understand what you actually do and who you are best suited to help. A small number of well-defined offers makes everything easier. Your marketing becomes clearer, your sales conversations become much simpler, and your audience quickly understands the value that you provide. That clarity reduces friction. When people understand what you do in seconds, they are far more likely to move forward. The second principle is in building predictable revenue streams. Unpredictable income creates stress to founders. When every month depends on finding new clients or launching something new, that pressure is constant. Predictable revenue creates some stability. This might come from retainers, memberships, recurring services, subscriptions, or repeatable products. The goal is to build income that does not require you to start from zero every single month. So when a portion of your revenue becomes predictable, you gain some breathing room. You can plan ahead, invest in improvements, focus on delivering value rather than chasing the next sale. The third principle is creating systems that reduce that constant hustle. In the early stages of a business, hustle is necessary. But over time, if everything still depends on your constant efforts, the business will eventually become exhausting. Systems are what turn effort into structure. This might include automated onboarding processes, repeatable marketing systems, clear delivery frameworks, or simple operational workflows. Systems ensure that the business can run smoothly without requiring you to reinvent everything every single day. They reduce that decision fatigue and allow you to focus on the work that actually matters. The final principle is pricing that reflects value. Underpricing is the most common trap that all founders fall into. They worry about charging too much, so they lower their prices to attract more clients. But low pricing often leads to the opposite result of what they intended. It attracts clients who require more time, more energy, and more support. And when you offer free offers, those are sometimes the worst clients. So don't do that. Ask me how I know. Pricing that reflects real value creates that balance. You can work with fewer clients while delivering higher quality outcomes. This supports both the sustainability of your business and the well-being of the founder. When you combine these principles, something important begins to happen. Your business becomes simpler. You have fewer offers, but they are clearer. Your revenue becomes more predictable. Your systems reduce the need for constant hustle. Your pricing supports the lifestyle that you want to build. Simplicity does not mean small thinking. It means intentional design. A simple business model creates stability. Stability creates freedom. And freedom is often the very reason why people become entrepreneurs in the first place. Once your business structure is clear, the next step is building a brand that people can recognize, trust, and connect with. Many people think branding is about colors, logos, and design. Those things matter, but they're only the surface. At its core, the brand is about meaning. It is about how people understand what you stand for and why your work really matters. People rarely buy products based on logic alone. They buy and they stay loyal to brands that make them feel a part of something bigger than just a transaction. That is why strong positioning is so important. Positioning simply means about being clear about who you help, what you help them achieve, and why your approach is different. That's it. When your positioning is strong, people understand what you do almost immediately. Without clear positioning, marketing becomes confusing. Your audience will struggle to understand where you fit, and your message gets lost among countless other voices. So, clarity cuts through that noise. The second element of a strong brand is storytelling and personal identity. We live in a world that's full of information, and people connect with stories more than facts. So they want to understand why you started, what you believe in, and what experiences shaped you to do the work that you do today. Your personal journey, your values, and your perspective give depth to your brand. This is particularly powerful for entrepreneurs because your story is something that cannot be copied. Competitors can replicate your products or services, but they cannot replicate your lived experience. When people understand the story behind your work, they simply get a stronger connection to it. The third element is consistency. Trust is built through repetition. When people see the same message, values, and tone appearing again and again and again and again, it creates some form of reliability. Over time, your audience begins to recognize your voice and understand what you stand for. Consistency does not mean repeating the same sentence forever. It just means maintaining a clear identity across everything that you do. Your message aligns with your actions, your values appear in your content, your brand feels recognizable wherever people encounter it. This consistency quietly builds trust. The final element is community. The strongest brands do not just attract customers, they attract people who share similar beliefs, interests, or ambitions. When people feel like they belong to a community, their relationship with that brand becomes so much deeper because they're not just buying a product or a service, they are participating in something meaningful. Communities form around shared values, shared challenges, and shared goals. They create spaces where people can learn from one another, support each other, and celebrate that progress together. For founders, building a community can transform a business from a simple transaction to a whole ecosystem. When your brand is clear and your community is strong, your marketing begins to change. You no longer need to chase people for attention. Instead, people begin to recognize you, trust you, and recommend you. A strong brand reduces the effort required to be noticed because your message becomes easier to understand and easier to remember. Over time, the brand itself becomes an asset. It carries your reputation, your mission, and the community believes in what you're building. Designing a business around the life you want does not mean the journey is easy. It just simply means that the effort that you invest is aligned with something meaningful. Building a lifestyle aligned with a business still requires discipline, responsibility, and strong leadership from the founder. At the center of that leadership is mindset. Entrepreneurship is rarely predictable. Market shifts, clients change their minds, opportunities appear unexpectedly and disappear, and things do not work out the way that you hope that they would. One of the most important skills a founder develops is the ability to make decisions under uncertainty. You will rarely have perfect information. Waiting for complete certainty often leads to hesitation and missed opportunities. So instead, strong founders have to learn to evaluate the information available, make thoughtful decisions, and adjust quickly as they learn more. Progress in business is often the result of many small decisions made consistently rather than one perfect choice. Another critical skill is emotional regulation. Running a business brings pressure. Some days, everything moves forward. Other days, things stall and fall apart. If every challenge triggers frustration, panic, or impulsive reactions, decision quality quickly suffers. Emotional regulation is not about ignoring stress, it is just about recognizing it and responding calmly. A founder who can pause, think clearly, and respond deliberately creates stability, not only for themselves, but for the people around them. Clients, collaborators, and communicators naturally gravitate towards leaders who appear grounded and composed. Your internal state shapes the quality of your external decisions. Consistency is another cornerstone of sustainable growth. Many people begin their entrepreneurial journeys with bursts of motivation. They feel inspired, energetic, and ready to move quickly. But motivation naturally fluctuates. Life becomes busy, challenges appear, and that excitement fades. So, what carries a business forward is not motivation, it is consistency. Small, repeated actions over time produce far more greater results than those occasional bursts of effort. Showing up regularly, refining offers, improving communication, and maintaining relationships gradually builds momentum. Consistency creates trust with your audience and stability inside of your business. So, alongside consistency becomes the ability to prioritize strategic thinking over constant activity. Many founders become trapped in busyness. I am one of them. Their days are filled with tasks and messages and endless small decisions. That activity can feel productive, but activity alone does not guarantee your progress. Strategic thinking requires stepping back and asking the bigger questions. Is this direction still aligned with the life that I want to build? Is this offer actually solving a meaningful problem? Where should I focus my time for the greatest impact? These moments of reflection allow founders to make better decisions and avoid unnecessary complexity. In many ways, building a business that supports your life requires a deeper level of behavioral maturity. You are not simply chasing growth or reacting to every opportunity. You're making intentional choices about how your business operates, how you spend your time, and how you lead yourself through challenges. This maturity allows you to maintain balance between ambition and sustainability. The goal is not constant hustle. The goal is steady, thoughtful growth that supports the life that you have set out to build. So when founders develop this mindset, the business becomes far more resilient. Decisions improve, pressure becomes easier to manage, and progress becomes more consistent. And that is what allows a business to grow without consuming the life it was meant to support. Designing a business around the life you want is only the first step. The next challenge is protecting that life once the business begins to grow. Without structure and boundaries, the business will have a natural tendency to expand. More opportunities appear, more requests come in, more responsibilities accumulate. If there are no systems in place to contain that growth, that work will slowly spill out and fill every hour. Many founders start their business in search of freedom only to find themselves working way more than they ever did before. And this is why systems matter. Systems are not about efficiency. They're about protection. They protect your time, your focus, and the lifestyle that you set out to build. One of the most important systems a founder can create is clear time boundaries. Time is the one resource that cannot be replenished. Yet in business, it is often treated as endlessly available. Meetings expand, messages arrive at all hours, and the line between work and life gradually disappears. Without boundaries, work will always take more. Time boundaries might include limiting the number of hours that you work each day, setting clear communication windows, or protecting specific days for deep work, rest, or personal time. It might mean refusing meetings outside of certain hours or ensuring that weekends remain genuinely free. These boundaries are not restrictive, they are strategic. When your time is protected, the hours that you do work become far more focused and productive. The second protective system is financial stability. Many founders operate under constant financial pressure. When income becomes unpredictable, every decision carries urgency. That urgency leads to reactive behavior, accepting the wrong clients, lowering prices unnecessarily, chasing opportunities that do not align with your long term vision. Financial buffers change that dynamic. A financial buffer might be a few months of operating expenses set aside or a constant stream of revenue that covers essential costs. That buffer creates breathing room. It allows founders to make thoughtful decisions rather than desperate ones. When the business has financial stability, the founder can focus on strategy rather than survival. The third system involves automation and delegation. In the early stages of a business, a founder does almost everything: marketing, sales, admin, delivery, customer support, everything, right? This level of involvement is absolutely normal in the beginning, but it becomes unsustainable as a business grows. Automation allows repetitive tasks to happen without constant manual labor. Simple systems can manage onboarding, scheduling, follow-up communication, or content distribution. These small efficiencies add up quickly. Delegation becomes equally important. Not every task requires a founder's attention. Some activities can be handled by team members, collaborators, or specialist partners. And delegation does not mean losing control. It means focusing your energy where it has the greatest impact. When automation and delegation are working effectively, the founder regains time and mental space. The final protective system is clarity around your priorities. Without clear priorities, everything is urgent. New ideas appear, opportunities look attractive, and become easy to chase multiple directions at once. But progress requires focus. Clear priorities act as a filter for decision making. They help you determine which opportunities align with your long term vision and which ones are just distractions. Guide how you allocate time, resources, and attention. A founder who knows their priorities can say yes with confidence and no without guilt. When these systems are working together, something powerful begins to happen. Your business becomes sustainable. Your time boundaries protect your energy. Financial buffers protect your decision making. Automation and delegation protect your capacity. Clear priorities protect your direction. Together, these systems create stability, not only for the business, but for the person running it. That stability is what allows the life that you designed earlier to actually exist. So when we step back and we look at the bigger picture, something interesting is happening in the world of entrepreneurship. That traditional image of success has built around scale, speed, and status. Bigger companies, larger teams, faster growth. For a long time, that was a dominant definition of achievement. But more and more founders are beginning to question that model. They are asking whether growth without balance is truly success. They are recognizing that financial progress alone does not guarantee fulfillment. They are realizing that a business should enhance life, not consume it. The future of entrepreneurship will not belong to people chasing scale for its own sake. It should belong to people who build with intention. Founders who understand the life that they want to design and design their business around it. Nope. Founders who understand the life that they want to live and design that business around it. Founders who create value in ways that are both profitable and sustainable. Founders who combine ambition with clarity and discipline. This shift does not mean thinking small. It just means thinking deliberately. It means building businesses that support freedom, support creativity, meaningful work, and long-term well-being. The entrepreneurs who thrive in the future will not be the busiest or the loudest. They will be the ones who understand how to align business design with life design. And that brings us to one final question. If your business truly served your life, what would it look like? Would your schedule change? Would your offers look different? Would you work with different people? Would you simplify the structure of your business? Take a moment to imagine that version of your future. Because once you can see it clearly, you can start building towards it. There's real power of entrepreneurship, not just in the ability to create income, but the ability to shape the life that you want to live.